But after 6 months or so in the tank, while the frag grows, coral and algae will develop. You won't be in good shape. Okay, now you'll find that the frags generally have a side that's got good tissue growth and a side that's has less tissue growth. And in this case, with this coral, one side is more green looking than the other. So there's a green side and a sort of brown side. The green side was exposed to light, the brown side was in the shade. So I'm going to lay down the brown side and leave the green side up. So what I want to do, let's see how well this works. I want to put about an eraser tip size dab of glue in here in 2 places so that I can split that frag and lay them down as 2 pieces. The Ross's super glue takes quite a while to dry, so I don't have to worry about that. You may be able to see the mucus coming off of that coral, and that'll interfere with Ross's super glue. We'll cut this in half. I've got 2 pieces, and what I want to do is lay them down. I'm going to lay one this way, brown side down. Put this one over here. Now this gives me 2 pieces to observe, to see what happens. And what I want to do is put just a little more super glue over on the corner, on the end piece here, just to make sure that they don't come loose. Now the super glue is Ross's super glue gel that I'm using. I'm not 100% happy with it, but it's the best I have locally. I get that at Home Depot. Pretty cheap. Okay, that looks like that should attach. So what I want to do is put this back in the 5-gallon bucket of water. I'm going to leave it sit for a couple hours, and then I'm going to transfer it down into the sump overnight. I'll let that glue dry in relatively quiet waters. Now the second frag, I'm going to cut it into pieces that are about 3/4 of an inch long or so. And what I'll do is, I think what I'll try to do is measure what I've got. The full length is exactly 2 3/4 inches. So if I break it up into 3 pieces, they'll be just slightly less than an inch a piece. And I don't know if you can see it, but if you look at the upper left, or on the left, you'll see there's some branching going on that coral frag over here. And I want to cut that off right where the branching starts and call that one frag. And then I'll take the remaining piece and cut it in half and stick it vertically on rock to see if they'll cover over and crust over on the top and the bottom and then grow branches, and we'll see what happens with that. So I'll need another rock here. You'll have to excuse me while I search my database for rocks. I think we'll take that one. This is kind of a branch rock that had gotten split longitudinally, and that might make a good base to sit down in a crevice inside the tank. So I'll attach to the flat surface and let it sit on the round surface on the rocks in the tank. Okay, this is where I'm going to put that frag that has 3 or 4 little branches sticking out. And then I'm going to split the remaining part in half and put one here and here. 2 plugs on a rock for that one. Now all I have to do is make sure I have enough glue. I've got another tube here that I can prep. Now I recommend putting on more glue than you think. You'll be tempted to put some on and glue on, well, I'll put more. The coral doesn't mind being glued. as long as you don't cover the entire frag with it. And also, these aquaporas don't mind being out of the water for quite a length of time, so you don't have to be real fast with this. They can sit outside of water for quite a while. They live outside of the water at low tide anyway. Okay, let's cut this frag, and I think we'll do one at a time. We'll just cut the top piece and then mount that, and then we'll go back and mount the other two pieces. So I'm going to take the thing and cut the piece right where the branches are. You can see the mucus coming off. They do that to protect themselves when out of water, so they don't dehydrate. And I'm going to try to get real close to these little branches. Okay, so now I've got my frag cut. And I can put some glue here. Get some to come out. There we go. About the size of a pencil eraser. And depending on how porous the rock is, it may seep into the rock, in which case you'll have to let that harden and then put some more on later. This is a fairly solid area of the rock that doesn't seem to be seeping in, so I think we can just take this frag. We'll want to measure it before we put it on. It's exactly 9/16 long, a little over ½ inch. And we'll just stick that in there. Like that, and let that set for a minute. Meanwhile, make sure you wipe the glue off the gloves, and then I'm going to grab the remaining frag, which is now just a branch that's been cut on both sides, and I'm going to cut it in the middle. And this is an experiment to see how well this particular coil does if I just take a longer branch and cut it into smaller segments. Each of these segments is exactly 1 inch long. And we're going to attach them in 2 locations on this rock. And what I want to do is, what I'm going to try to do with that rock is create a couple of holes. And the way I do that is I use a screwdriver and I just ream out a hole. And then I got to find the best side to do that on. I think I can try right here. Sometimes you wind up breaking the rock up a little. I broke it up more than I wanted to. I've already got a natural hole here. So that should do pretty good. Now the reason I do this is because those branches are longer and they have kind of a letter arm to them. So if anything comes up and hits them, they'll knock them over and break them off. And that possibility exists for about a month or so until the base covers the glue area and the coral properly attaches to the rock. You'll find these live rocks are easy to drill, although they may split. You just want to sort of grind away on them here. I've got 2 holes drilled in, just using a screwdriver. And I'll rinse them out in the water over there in a minute. Now, you want to make sure the opening of the hole is big enough to support the diameter of the coral frag. You want that to go down in the hole and then glue it. So I'll rinse that off and now I'll do a size check.